58 calls and text messages, alleged witness intimidation. All of these are at play in the Sean Diddy Combs's bail denial. All this went down this past week. Tyrone Bowman live. Welcome to the program this morning. We're going to get right down to it. According to NBC News, this past week, Sean Combs had his bail denied a second time by a judge on Wednesday. Last week, on the day he was sued for at least the ninth time in less than a year, Sean Combs was determined to get a message through to one of his protégés, prosecutors, in his federal criminal case said. The music mogul, who was indicted by a federal grand jury this week on sex trafficking and racketeering charges, is alleged to have called or texted Kalina Harper 58 times in 4 days. The outreach started, prosecutors said, on the day that another of his protégés, Dawn Richard, who was Harper's bandmate in the since disbanded group Diddy, Dirty Money, sued Combs, alleging that he groped and threatened her and at times failed to pay her while he oversaw his career. And the communication stopped, they said, after Harper took to social media to deny that she had witnessed some of the things Richard's complaint alleges. Now, a lot of things are going on here. A lot of things have already been said, and a lot more is going to be said. And in all fairness, everything right now is alleged to have occurred, unless the prosecution is able to prove beyond a reasonable shadow of a doubt, based upon the preponderance of the evidence, that what they alleged is true. And I was listening to a broadcast a few days ago. I was at the barbershop, and I heard the commentator talking to an attorney. And the prosecutor said, well, you know what they could do? They could always start flipping people, basically snitching. They could always get people to snitch, make deals with them to get them to testify the way that they want them to. This goes on every day in law enforcement. Believe it or not, it happens every single day. People are set up, people are framed, so-called friends become your enemies. They will testify against you. They will become snitches. Forget that thing called CI or confident informant. No, you're a snitch. That's what you are. You know, you make a deal in the old mafia way. What they would do, they would give them, remember the movie The Goodfellow? And they give him a brand new identity, a new life. He had to start his life all over again. See, when you are cooperative with the district attorney or prosecutors, they will give you total immunity from prosecution if you just say what they want you to say. Just lie. We will protect you. We will make sure that you are not cited for perjury. Just help us to bring this person down. You don't even have to be famous. You know, you don't have to be a famous individual to get accused of something. They will arraign you so quick, violate your constitutional and civil rights in less than 60 seconds. Starve, put you in a dirty, dingy, filthy cell and starve you to death. Deny you bail, make you stay in the county jail until your trial comes, or make the bail so high to it's so unreasonable that family and friends and associates, they can't even help you with the bail. So everyday people face these problems every single day. The differentiation with Diddy is this: he's a billionaire, and they're going to have to prove what they say, because if not, they're going to look stupid if this man is acquitted. Remember in the Rodney King case in the 1990s? What did the prosecutor say? You can't believe what you see on videotape. You can't believe it. Just believe what the cops say. Believe them over everybody else because they're officers of the law. And of course, they don't lie. They don't fabricate. They don't set people up. Yeah, right. They do it every single day. Lie, cheat, steal, fabricate, murder people, and thinking they're going to get away with it. Just because you retire as a corrupt cop does not mean that your life is going to be what you think it's going to be. Many of them are alcoholics. Many of them are drug addicts. They're serial adulterers. They're wife beaters. They abuse their family members. And they're by themselves in the end. And good cops, decent cops, are often frowned down upon because they're not a part of that club. All right, I'm not going to get on a tangent on that. I'll be talking about all that kind of stuff in my brand new YouTube channel. That one is just going to deal with legal issues because as a criminal justice major and a law student, I'm going to make sure that I inform people about the system, what it's really like, and how you can protect yourself. That's right. So look forward to that channel happening soon. So it'll be up and running probably before the year is over, maybe next year. All right. Now back to this article reported by NBC News. The allegation of communication between Combs and Harper is one of several examples of, quote, witness tampering and obstruction of justice prosecutors laid out for a judge Tuesday in New York as they argued that Combs was too dangerous, violent, and dismissive of the federal case against him to be allowed to return home before his trial. This incident is just one way of making clear that this defendant has the ongoing ability to keep witnesses, even witnesses who might have been around for very distant in time abuse, in his pocket and at his disposal. One of the prosecutors, Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson, told a judge Tuesday Combs' attorneys had asked that he be released on bail and said that he could post a $50 million bond. But U.S. Magistrate Judge Robin Tarnowski denied the request Tuesday, saying, in part, that even with the bond, she could not reasonably assure his return to court or the safety of the community or a lack of witness tampering. U.S. District Judge Andrew Carter Jr. upheld that decision Wednesday after an appeal from Combs' attorney. Let me interject this right here, then I'll get right back to this article. Isn't it ironic that Donald Trump, with all the corruption and everything in law cases that he has, they never revoked his bail? They let him just walk free. He said, you know what? You can even become president again. He's the one who said in 2016 that he could even walk down the middle of, Manhattan, down to Manhattan, and he could shoot somebody and get away with it. You see that double standard? He's a white billionaire. Combs is a black billionaire. Yes, there is a double standard. Some of y'all don't like to hear this, but it's true anyway. There's a double standard. It's a two-tier judicial system. One for rich, white, privileged people, and one against black, privileged people and ordinary people. You don't think I know what I'm talking about? Get caught up in it, and you'll find out. Tuesday's hearing provided the first public acknowledgement that authorities believe Combs has tried to silence people who might speak out against him. Prosecutors said that since he was sued in November by his former longtime girlfriend who alleged years of physical and sexual abuse, he has contacted not only Harper, but also witnesses who received grand jury subpoenas, and at least one person he is alleged to have harmed. An attorney for Combs said he could not have obstructed justice, in part because he did not know he was the subject of a criminal investigation. And where did they arrest him? While he was having dinner with his family. He was going to turn himself in on Tuesday, but they wanted to make it a public mess, a public showing. How dare he be a black billionaire? How dare he? And all this is about fame and publicity for a lot of these lawyers to further their careers. Don't think it's not. Look at Marcia Clark. She got a book deal. movie deal. You know, she was a broke prosecutor till the O.J. Simpson trial came along. I'm not saying if O.J. was innocent or guilty. I'm just saying how it was played out in the media. And always remember this: before you sit back and judge others, think about if that was your son or your daughter, and you know your son or your daughter that was going through the exact same thing. It'd be entirely different. Johnson, the prosecutor, told the judge, the defendant's power gives him a unique ability to influence and intimidate witnesses and victims. Witnesses we have interviewed have universally expressed their fear of the defendant. His influence makes it extremely difficult to convince people that they will be safe from his actions. Really? Prosecutors said Combs began contacting Harper shortly after Richard alleged in a lawsuit filed September 10 that Combs assaulted, groped, and imprisoned her. In a statement, an attorney for Combs called Richard's lawsuit an attempt to rewrite history and accused her of trying to get a payday. Richard says in her lawsuit that Harper was present during some of those interactions and that they both witnessed Combs' abuse of his former longtime girlfriend Cassandra Ventura, an R&B singer known as Cassie, who was signed to his record label Bad Boy. Harper said in a statement Friday, in part, that many of the allegations and incidents described in this suit are not representative of my experiences and some do not align with my own truth. You're going to see this duality going back and forth, and most likely this trial will probably be televised. You watch, people are going to be lying unreal. And many of the people who made a lot of money off of him because they're probably on those videotapes, they're definitely going to snitch and lie and make sure that he goes down. Johnson said that from the date of Richard's flirting to the day after to the Richard's filing to the day after Harper's statement, Combs and Harper had 128 total phone contacts, with Combs calling or texting Harper 58 times in 4 days. There hasn't been any contact since September 14, Johnson said. Attempts to reach Harper for comment at phone numbers and email addresses listed to her and through her social media accounts were unsuccessful. One of Combs' attorneys, Mark Agnifilio, told the judge Tuesday that Harper's eventual statement was the furthest thing from the witness obstruction. I can think of saying it reflected just two witnesses having divergent recollections of similar events. He added that he did not see how Combs could have obstructed justice when Richard had not been identified as a witness in the federal case. In court on Tuesday, prosecutors also accused Combs of twice calling an unnamed person, whom he financially supports 3 days after Ventura filed her lawsuit. Ventura sued Combs in November, alleging he physically abused her during their years-long relationship, raped her on one occasion when she tried to leave him, and forced her to participate in drug-fueled orgies with male prostitutes that he called freak-offs. While Combs watched them masturbated and sometimes recorded them, they settled the lawsuit a day after it was filed without disclosing the terms and with Combs denying any wrongdoing. Combs, Johnson said, asked for the victim's support and friendship in attempts to convince the victim that she had willingly engaged in sexual acts with him. In one of the calls, prosecutors referred to in court Tuesday said Combs can be heard telling the alleged victim that if she continues to be on his side and provide support and friendship, that she doesn't have to worry about anything else, which Johnson said is just a thinly veiled reference to continuing their financial support. Johnson said both calls were recorded. Johnson also said that since Ventura filed her lawsuit, Combs and his alleged co-conspirators have contacted alleged victims and witnesses, including people who had received grand jury subpoenas for the government in this case. Johnson said the contact has occurred prior to dates of testimony or meetings with the government, and in one case, it allegedly involved a person whom Combs had not spoken to in years, Johnson said. You know, this is. Agnophilia argued that Combs could not have obstructive justice because he was unaware he was the subject of a criminal investigation. The indictment alleges that Combs, after he was indicted, and members of his staff operated a criminal enterprise that participated in sex trafficking and other crimes, primarily to facilitate and cover up freak-offs, defined in the indictment as highly orchestrated performances of sexual activity in hotels and at other locations that occurred regularly, sometimes lasted multiple days, and often involved multiple commercial sex workers. During such events, according to the indictment, women were plied with drugs to keep them obedient and compliant, as they were forced to have sex with male prostitutes. All this is alleged to have happened. Remember, these are only allegations thus far. So I'll keep you updated as the case continues to unfold. And would you take a moment to kindly subscribe to Tyrone Bowman Live? Appreciate it. Never surrender. Never quit.